Welcome back to the Morning Report, everyone. You know, May is Celiac Awareness Month, and that's important to remember, and we're going to tell you why. Joining me now is Kitty Bruyere, and she's from Guiding Stars. She's also a licensed and registered dietitian, so you know all about this subject. But for those watching at home who don't know, what is celiac disease?
Celiac disease is actually autoimmune disease, so if you know about lupus or anything like that, you know what autoimmune disease is. It's when the body kind of attacks itself. So people with celiac disease, when they eat anything with the protein gluten in it, their body perceives that as something they need to fight against, and their immune system attacks the small intestine, and then they end up with a lot of GI problems, and they also don't absorb their nutrients as well either, which can be a problem down the road, of course.
How many people does this affect? I mean, you talk to me about this, and I eat flour all the time, and I can't imagine how painful this must be. How many people does it affect?
It's flour's everywhere, so it's really an ubiquitous problem, but about 1 in every 133 Americans have it. But the problem is, I think it's widely underdiagnosed. So a lot of people might be walking around with symptoms and not even realize that it's this. So they need to get to their doctor and get a blood test for it.
Well, right before we get to some ways of how to get around the issue with trying to avoid flour and everything like that, for people who don't know if they have symptoms or if they have the disease, what should they look for? What should they be feeling, and who should they talk to?
Well, because gluten is in, it's a protein that's in wheat, rye, and barley, anytime that they eat foods containing those ingredients, they might have GI problems, they might have upset stomach, they might get a skin rash. Sometimes people even have like this constant brain fog, and they're just sort of walking around feeling a little out of it. And so because those symptoms are pretty generic, it can be really hard to pinpoint, oh, I have a celiac problem or I have a gluten problem.
So talk to your doctor.
You do need to talk to your doctor if you're having anything like that.
Well, I'll let you jump into this. We've got some different options here, and I'm seeing that these are a flour substitute.
Right.
What do we have?
Right. Well, because you know wheat, rye, and barley are so ubiquitous in the food system, if you are gluten-free, you need to be reading labels, which is where Guiding Stars can help because you can compare the nutrition content of different gluten-free flours. So you need to use alternative flours. And now that it's that season when we're baking cakes for graduation and Mother's Day and things, people might be interested in what they can use to do that. So I have, the first one here is a all-purpose gluten-free flour blend, and that is, there are many brands, and this is what sort of just like regular flour. It measures the same, it sort of works the same, so it's perfect, and this is sort of a new product, so it's great to have. The second one is, this one is almond flour, which is sometimes called almond meal. Okay. And you can see it's grainier. It's also very high in fiber and also a good protein source. And that there are many recipes you can find online to make cookies or cakes with almond flour. You can even make it yourself by grinding them up. And then this third one is coconut flour, and it does taste a little bit like coconut. You can see it's kind of a little more grainy, but still light and fluffy. It's not as high in protein, but it is very high in fiber. So
always necessary.
That's a nice thing. And again, it cooks up a little different. It's very absorbent, so you really need a real recipe. You don't just substitute one for one in your favorite recipe. It will not work. And then this last one, this one's my favorite. This is, I don't know if you can see this one, this is chickpea flour or garbanzo flour, and you can see it has a nice color. It does not taste like beans, which is what a lot of people think. And you can make these wonderful waffles, and it's super high in protein.
This is the end product, and it looks just, and I bet it tastes it. I might taste it, but it looks just like the finished product of any other waffle.
My daughter and I eat those almost every weekend.
I got to give this a shot. Thank you so much, Kitty from Guiding Stars.
Thanks for having me.
You could, of course, anytime. You can find these recipes on our website. We'll be right back after this break.